Hey, well, welcome to another episode of 10 with Tom, where we get to explore faith 10 minutes at a time. My name is Tom, and today I want to talk about a dream, God's dream. The most famous speech of the 20th century was given by a preacher by the name of Martin Luther King Jr., and it's the I have a dream speech. But I want to tell you something cool about that speech. You see, Martin Luther King Jr., he was a preacher, like I said, and he was speaking from a prepared sermon that day. And at one point in the speech, he throws this quote in from the Bible, from the book of Amos. And he says this: "We will not be satisfied till justice rolls like the waters. We will not be satisfied till righteousness rolls like a mighty stream." In Amos chapter 5. And that, of course, became very, very famous words. But at this point, what you may not know is that at this point, the crowd could not keep quiet. And they start to applaud and they start to yell back to Martin Luther King, tell it, amen, amen, preach it, like a church crowd. Except this was not a church crowd. But when you watch the video, Martin Luther King Jr., at this point, he can't go back to his prepared text. He tries, and then he stops. And then Mahalia Jackson pipes up from the sidelines, and she says, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream." And then he starts like a prophet. He says, "I have a dream." I don't have the voice like Martin Luther King Jr. "I have a dream." And he goes from Amos to Isaiah, and he starts to quote from Isaiah that one day all children of God will be judged no longer by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. "I have a dream today," he says. "I have a dream that every valley will be raised up and every mountain will be brought down," quoting the prophet, "and the glory of God will be revealed and all flesh will see it together. I have a dream." Man, I mean, you may disagree with me, but from my perspective, Martin Luther King's speech that day, and not only was a history-changing speech, but I don't think it was a secular speech. I don't think any secular speech can move the human heart quite like that. And my point is this, that Martin Luther King had a dream, but I think it was originally God's dream. I think it's still God's dream. It's his dream. It was his dream for the nation of Israel in the time of Amos, and it's the dream for his people, for us, for the church today. This dream of justice, this dream of equality, this dream of righteousness, this dream of shalom, where shalom means wholeness, it means oneness, it's more than just peace, it's integration, all people coming together. It's this dream of his kingdom come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. This is the dream of shalom. This is still God's dream. I was reading Amos recently, and Amos chapter 5, I mean, the prophet has some pretty hardcore things to say to the people of Israel, and I think it's a message that's hard-hitting, and I think it's still hard-hitting for us today. And I want to read to you from the Message version, starting in verse 21. It says this: "I can't stand your religious meetings. I'm fed up with your conferences and conventions. I want nothing to do with your religion projects, your pretentious slogans and goals. I'm sick of your fundraising schemes, your public relations and image making. I've had all I can take of your noisy ego music." I mean, that's pretty hard-hitting. And then he says, "When was the last time you sang to me?" Do you know what I want? I want justice, oceans of it. I want fairness, rivers of it. That's what I want. That's all I want. That's that verse. "But let justice roll on like a river and righteousness like a never-ending stream." I mean, there's nothing wrong, of course, with, religious meetings, nothing wrong with worship, nothing wrong with fundraising. All of that stuff is fine. But when we make those things the main thing, and we put those things above God, above the things on God's heart, and the things on God's heart is justice. The things on God's heart is righteousness. When we make those things ultimate things, then we actually make those things idols. And God calls us back to himself. When was the last time you simply sang to me? I don't know what your dream for your life is. I hope you have some kind of a dream, and sometimes it's easy to let those dreams die. And my encouragement is to keep pursuing the dream that you feel God has placed in my heart. But I want you to know that above your dreams, God has a dream. He has a dream for your life. He has a dream for our nation. He has a dream for His church. And so may we join in with Amos in praying this prayer. May we join in with the disciples, with Jesus, who taught us to pray, Lord, not my will be done, but your will be done. Your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Thanks for joining us for another 10 with Tom, and we'll see you next time.